So, here I am, stuck in the foyer of a Toys R Us in the middle of a massive summer thunderstorm. Given how hot it's been all day, that's just all the moisture that got evaporated having to go somewhere. So, as long as I was stuck here, I decided to make a purchase. It's the movie version of Donatello, which I've taken out of the packaging. I decided to get a quick first impression right here, so we can get a look at him. There are some paint flubs, like there's a space between his goggles that's unpainted, that's not painted there, and you see his loincloth bits are left plain black, and the wrappings on his leg, if you look at the back, they're unpainted on the back. If you look at the box art, you can see that's significantly more color in him. He comes with an accessory. It's a bow staff, I guess. Although this one kind of looks like it's made out of bamboo, which is kind of weird. I don't know, we're going to have to see what it does in the movie, because it kind of looks like it telescopes. Like maybe it's supposed to get longer and shorter. But this is just a quick first impression of the figure. Let's do some doctoring and then do a proper review of him. Okay, so here's my Donatello post touch-up. Let's see. But it's pretty, you should be able to pick out some obvious details just from this, but for the less observant, let's zoom in and show what I did in detail. Up here on the head, as you can see, I fully painted his goggles, so they're all black now. They used to be green in the middle, and this hook from the goggles on his cheek is also picked out. It's kind of cool the way it goes underneath the mask like that, but the way that black thing was originally unpainted just made it look like he had a weird vein on his cheek. That part was already painted, so I didn't have to worry about that. I decided not to paint his pupils because it's just more iconic for Ninja Turtle action figures to have whited out eyes. But as we move down, you can clearly see on his skirts, I painted them green to look more like the card art from the action figures blister. As you can see right there. I don't know, it looks like a little bit more of like a hunter green, but I work with what I have, you know. I also picked out some of his bandages, like there on his thighs and on his wrist. And moving down onto his feet, you can see I painted the soles of his shoes in beige, just like they were in the picture. And I painted the leather straps as they went around the back of his leg. Remember, on the original they were only painted on the front. So, that's everything I painted. I also did one other modification to the figure, and that is I added wrist articulation. Yeah, now his wrist can rotate, so he can do something that the stock figure couldn't do. He can actually two-hand wield his bow staff accessory. Yeah, that is something that you could not get this figure to do before. Yeah, I guess that makes me pretty cool, huh? Alright, so the way I added this wrist articulation was I simply took an X-Acto knife and cut his arm off. I cut it off at on either side. I cut it off at a point that seemed logical, like here. Oh, by the way, did I mention that I painted this silver thing on? Because this was totally just black before. So you see, I cut it off right after this black thing, and then I drilled a hole into it. And this is a peg that comes from a Lego kit. I stuck that into the stump of his forearm, and it has a good amount of friction, so I don't have to worry about it accidentally falling off, and it will hold any pose that I twist his wrist into. I really like how the left arm came out better, because on the right arm, as you can see, the sculpt gets a little bit more broken. if this is the hand as it was originally attached, and as I rotate it, it kind of like starts to come off. I mean, it's on securely. Let's pull this thing out. On this one, if I had made the cut deeper into the forearm, I would have broken the sculpt of this armor bit here. And if I cut behind the armor bit, there'd be no space because the joint's right there. So I had to cut only the hand off and then drill into the forearm. Then I attached the peg to the hand. Oop. Here we go. And it works very well. The joints are very secure. They are in no risk of accidentally falling out. And now he's just as versatile as any other Donatello action figure. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a Donatello action figure that didn't have wrist articulation. I don't think I've ever seen any Ninja Turtle action figure that didn't have wrist articulation before this line came out, in fact. It's kind of weird that of all the lines, this is the first one to not have wrist articulation. Okay, so let's talk about the figure a little bit more in detail. He actually looks really good in sculpt. I know I may be a little bit controversial in saying this, but I rather like the Ninja Turtles' new look for the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good look, I have to say. The turtles all look unique and interesting from each other, and aside from a little bit of an overly hunched posture, they look fine. I like the way that their faces are expressive, which the fact that they're done in motion capture and CGI rather than through puppetry like the original movie versions, which were created by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. Seriously, watch the original movie from the 1980s. The costume effect is amazing, but they still look pretty good. I mean, the movie's gonna... In fact, from what I hear, the movie doesn't sound bad either. I mean, we'll have to see the movie, but based on description, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be too bad. At least they got the characterization down. So yeah, the sculpt on this guy is really good. He has this technological greeble on his back that kind of looks like a proton pack from Ghostbusters, and it has this little flexible hose, which is actually kind of useful because you can put the bow staff through the hose, and it's improvised weapon storage. Yeah, some people were upset that only Leonardo had weapon storage, but Donatello can pull it off too. His head is on a ball joint, but it's so deep that it really only works as a swivel. And since his head is hunched, the swivel is actually more of a cock. Like he can sort of tilt his head to the side like, huh? He has universal shoulder joints, which are very nice. They go all the way around, usefully. And he has a universal elbow with a deep bend. It goes a full 90 degrees. And then it, of course, can rotate in and out. And then you won't find this if you buy the figure in a store, but I gave mine the wrist swivel. But although, quick side comparison. Here's Nickelodeon Donatello's arm. And if you look at the range of his elbow, it only goes this much. So movie Donatello's arm actually has a better range of movement in the elbow joint. Moving down to the legs, there is universal joints in the legs so they can go forwards and out. And he has a good 90-degree bend at the knee, well, almost 90-degree bend at the knee, and a knee swivel. Although there's no ankle articulation, but turtles rarely have ankle articulation anyway, so I'm not going to hold that against him. Yeah, I mean, the only real flaw of this action figure was that he had no wrist movement, which is something that I corrected. If you're wondering how long it took, about 20 minutes. I spent about 20 minutes manufacturing those wrist swivels. Okay, so one more note on the redesign. The Ninja Turtles have had so many crazy designs over the years. I mean, this redesign here, it barely breaks my top 5 craziest forms I've ever seen the Ninja Turtles take. I mean, I have seen some incredibly wacky Ninja Turtles from anime OVAs where they look like Dragon Ball Z characters to zero budget musical versions where they look like Halloween costumes. Like no, this looks interesting and cool and different, but not bad at all. And here he is side by side with the original Donatello figure from the Nickelodeon line. I don't want to dig into my closet and pull out the original 80s action figure that I still have, so this is going to be the only comparison we get. And, well, the proportions are a little different. I mean, the Donatello still looks tall, and I should also note that he's very lean. Of the 4 turtles, he is the slimmest of them. His arms and legs are toned but very skinny, compared to Raphael, who's very muscular and beefy. Leonardo, who is kind of in between Donatello and Raphael's physique, and Michelangelo, who's short. The turtles all look very interesting and distinct from each other, which is really good. I like that they keep them different. Just like in the Nickelodeon cartoon, although the Nickelodeon cartoon is a little bit more subtle. But yeah, there you go. The posture is clearly a little different. The Nickelodeon version stands more upright, while this guy's a little hunched. But he still looks good. He still, and I think that this is a good action figure line. I'm hoping I'm gonna see the Ninja Turtles movie. At first, like everyone's still reeling from a couple years ago when they said that the Ninja Turtles are alien beings, and a lot of people, they just completely turned their brains off. But I believe, you know, they spent 2 years rewriting the script for the darn thing, so I'm pretty sure that whatever flaws that were in that original draft where they said that, they probably fixed it. Like, if anything, maybe they at least were able to get some feedback from the Nickelodeon cartoon. Hopefully, you know, fingers crossed. Oh, and by the way, the new designs, they have 2 toes again. Come on, that has to be worth some goodwill, right? I mean, remember when the Nickelodeon cartoon came out? They had 3 toes and people rioted in the streets? Do you remember the 3-toed riots? Do you? Oh, it was such pandemonium. Hang. But yeah, that is all I really have to say about Donatello. I've shown off my modifications, and I talked about how I think the movie has a chance of being good, and how I actually rather like this design. So, this is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.